The beautiful Lancaster, PA is the best place to live in Pennsylvania, and I'm giving you 10 reasons why in this video. So let's get started. Hello, and thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Matt Moore with the Moore Group, a local real estate team based right here in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And in this video, we're going to be talking about what makes Lancaster so great and why it's the best place to live in all of PA. Now, if you're watching this video, you might have already done some research and trying to figure out where to live, where the best places in Pennsylvania to live are. And I'm going to make the pitch here that it's right here in Lancaster. And I'm going to give you 10 reasons why. But before we jump right into that, I just want to say this. We are helping people move and relocate to and within Lancaster all the time. We absolutely love it. And if that's you, we'd love to have a conversation with you. I'm going to quickly put my information up here on the screen for you. You can reach out to me anytime, call, text, email, smoke signal, carrier pigeon, as I always say on these videos. And please do reach out. We'd love to have a conversation with you, even if it's just to start that conversation, or maybe just have a couple of questions. Regardless, reach out anyway. We're happy to help you. But that's not why you're here. You want to learn why Lancaster, Pennsylvania is the best place to live in all of PA, and that's what we're diving into. So let's get started with the first reason why. All right, it's July 2022 when I'm recording this video, and inflation is all the rage. It's in every headline. Every time the stock market closes, there's another article that comes out. It is just, the headlines are just repeatedly talking about money, money, money. Well, I'm here to tell you and talk to you a little bit about money as well, but it's in relation to how Lancaster fares compared to the national averages, the national medians, and where that ranking lies. And it's about the cost of living. And Lancaster has a relatively lower cost of living compared to especially some of the surrounding areas, but also across the nation too. And when we specifically look at housing, which is right in my wheelhouse being a real estate agent, the median sale price value for a home in Lancaster County is just slightly over $300,000. In fact, it just went over $300,000 a couple months ago. So it's taken a little bit of time to get to that point. Now, when you compare that to the national median number, and again, we use median, not average, because averages can be skewed by these higher or lower priced homes. I looked right in the middle, that's the median, the very middle number, very middle house that sold. And that gives you a pretty good value and gives you a good marker on how to track things. And that number for the nation came in at about $425,000 of that. So when you look at Lancaster housing and real estate versus the national median of $423,000 or so, it is a big difference. It is substantially lower when it comes to the real estate side. Now, there are some other markers and other factors that we talk about when it comes to cost of living. It's not just housing, but when it comes to housing, it is lower than that national median. There are some things that are about the national median or slightly under that, and you can look at all of these factors here, but I want to point out one in particular that really actually stands out from the rest, and it has to do with healthcare and looking at this median value in relation to what the national median is. In Lancaster, it's a little bit higher than that national median, and there's a great reason why, and that brings me to my number 2 point, which is healthcare, and the healthcare being unbelievable here in the Lancaster area. To explain this, I kind of have to go into a little bit of a backstory. So Lancaster General Health was the primary health system right here in Lancaster for decades, and it's been a perennial powerhouse when it comes to healthcare here in Lancaster. However, a few years ago, Lancaster General Health and Penn Medicine merged. Penn Medicine being University of Penn in Philadelphia, and all of the healthcare and world-class physicians that access there are all combined now under one umbrella. And what that does is it creates access for people right here in Lancaster to access these world-class physicians, these world-class healthcare services, either in Lancaster or in Philadelphia, and have very easy access to both of them, and just gives you an entire enterprise of networks of these world-class physicians and healthcare options. There are a number of healthcare facilities right here in Lancaster, including hospitals, outpatient facilities, rehab centers, cancer centers, and of course, urgent cares too. There's dotted all across the map here in Lancaster, thanks to the headquarters of some major healthcare systems. But what it really comes down to is the level of care. When you talk about needing the world-class physicians, or if you need to have a procedure done, or if you really want the best healthcare person or physician or team that is going to be monitoring you, you're probably going to be able to find that right here in the Lancaster area through that Penn Medicine system. So Penn Medicine is great, but there's a new player in town, and it is the Penn State Health System. So there's a big hospital called Penn State Hershey Medical Center that's up there in the Hershey area, just east of Harrisburg. And it's about 45 minutes to an hour drive for many people in Lancaster. And it is another healthcare option, but that system is now branching back down into Lancaster. There are a number of, physicians and outpatient facilities and doctors' offices and things like that from Penn State Health, but never really has there been a hospital until now. They're building a brand new hospital in the Landisville area. It is set to open later this summer and into the early fall, and it will be a premier destination for a lot of people that are looking for some of those procedures, emergency services, maternal care, all sorts of factors that are going to be going into that hospital system. It's also going to bring a lot of great paying jobs to the Lancaster area, and that's going to be a beautiful thing for home values as they go up. And by the way, a little secret here, one place that I talk to people all the time who are saying, hey, I want more of a sure thing in terms of home values, Landisville is one of those spots because of the location to the hospital. If you think about doctors and nurses and people who work in the healthcare system, they need to be within a certain distance of hospitals. So that immediate area around the hospital system should experience relatively stable growth or keeping things relatively steady if there's any sort of a downturn of any kind, and certainly on the upswing can certainly help to boost that as well. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. I just want to stop real quick and very briefly invite you to follow us on social media. Whether you're on Insta, on Facebook, on Twitter, it doesn't really matter. We can follow you there as well. We'd love to see you come by. Send us a message. All you have to do is go to the search bar on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and type in More Group Matt. That's it, More Group Matt, and you'll be able to pull up our accounts. We'd love to see that follow, and don't forget to send us a message. So moving on to the third point of why Lancaster is the best place in Pennsylvania to live, and that has to do with the diversity. People generally think of Lancaster from the outside. They think Amish, they think farmland, and many people don't even know that there's a full-fledged city here in the Lancaster area. And yes, the Amish, the farms, the rural, that's certainly a component, but that's certainly not everything. And there's a lot more to Lancaster than just that. In fact, it is incredibly diverse. There are a number of refugees and immigrants from all over the world that have found their place right here in the Lancaster area. In fact, BBC came out with a little video article, I'm going to show that here, calling Lancaster the refugee capital of America, as Lancaster has taken in about 20 times refugee per capita of anywhere else in the United States. So the diversity is incredibly unique, and we're not just talking across the political spectrum, socioeconomic, cultural, ethnic, it doesn't really matter. We're talking about a lot of different variety of things, and that's great for families that are growing up and learning different cultures and different ways of how people live. Of course, that's a wonderful thing, and it makes and promotes a beautiful place to live. But it also does something else to an area which you may not think about, but it's easy to connect those dots. And that brings me to my number 4 point, and that is the incredible restaurant scene here in Lancaster County and Lancaster City. And it's not just me saying this. If you're a foodie, Lancaster is a destination for you. In fact, the New York Times came out with an article in 2019 calling Lancaster a global feast in an unlikely spot. It's a great read if you can, but it really attributes the diversity of the restaurants and the uniqueness of the restaurants to some of that refugee and immigrant movement that's happened here in the Lancaster area. And I can tell you, that has continued to grow since 2019, since that article came out. There are some really incredible restaurants right here in the Lancaster area. Some of our favorites, and this is not a comprehensive list, but these are just some of our favorites, and if you're in town, I encourage you to check them out. They're wonderful. The Exchange in downtown Lancaster, also Plow is there in downtown, the Belvedere Inn, Lombardo's, a great Italian restaurant there, and that's just to name a couple of restaurants in the area. There are some other places to check out as well in downtown Lancaster, and just on the outskirts too. Lucca is a wonderful place to grab a bite to eat with some very unique food. And it's in a great neighborhood too. You can get out and walk and go to Franklin and Marshall College just down the way. So for foodies, it's great. If you like microbreweries, feels like there's one on every single corner in Lancaster City. Lancaster City is extremely rich in the restaurant scene, the food scene, and really you can get anything you want. And it's not just downtown where the restaurant scene is wonderful. You can see an amazing array of eclectic restaurants all across the county. And this is just a very small sample of all the restaurants in downtown Lancaster. I encourage you to come check it out yourself. Come to Lancaster. I would love to send you a guide. You can email me, and of course I put my contact information. If you're coming to Lancaster, I've got a guide for some great restaurants. I would love to send that to you if you're exploring this area as a place that you could possibly move to. Moving on to the number 5 reason why Lancaster is such a great place to live, and that is the farm fresh produce. Going back to that rural conversation, we've got all the farms you could possibly imagine. But what that means is there's a lot of farmers markets. There's a lot of great places where you can get great produce for a lower price than you're going to be paying at the grocery stores. And you can get a lot of it too. Roots Country Market, it spells like roots, but it's pronounced ruts if you're a local here. Of course, there's Central Market in downtown Lancaster, Green Dragon, and there are a number of roadside stands all over in the spring, summer, and fall months where you can get that produce and load your car up if you want to for dirt cheap prices. Now, the number 6 reason why Lancaster is the best place to live in Pennsylvania is you get access and proximity to the big cities of the Interstate 95 corridor, but you don't have to deal with all of that mess, the congestion, the cost of living, all of that, but you still have that close access. Philadelphia and Baltimore are both within an hour-and-a-half drive from Lancaster. You can get to New York using the New Jersey Turnpike. You can get down to the DC area as well. There's a lot of different options for you to get down to those big cities if you needed to. And if you wanted to explore a night on the town in Philadelphia or go to Baltimore, go to the Inner Harbor, it's very easy, certainly doable in a day trip. All those big 4 cities, those major metros across the I-95 corridor from here in the Lancaster area. Now, what that also affords is proximity to the major airports, Philadelphia International, Baltimore, Washington International Airport, where you can get nonstop flights to a lot of places all across the world. But there's also some smaller airports to mention as well. Harrisburg International Airport is a great one to check out, and there are a number of nonstop destinations across the big chunk of the eastern 2/3 of the country and some international flights too. And of course, Trenton Airport in New Jersey. So all within fairly short distance. I know I mentioned Lancaster Airport earlier. They do have some chartered flights down to the Dulles area if you want to, even some into Pittsburgh too. But mostly that's a private airport with small prop planes, private planes that people fly in and out. Another great thing about being close to the cities is you get some of that logistical networking from a transportation standpoint, not just from airports, but also trains. Amtrak has a station in downtown Lancaster, and you can take the Amtrak Keystone line from Harrisburg to Lancaster to Philadelphia, and from there you can go north or south to New York or to Baltimore and DC, all while riding the Amtrak. And nowadays, with as expensive gas is, you can save a little bit of money in your wallet too. Moving on to the 7th thing that makes Lancaster the best place in Pennsylvania to live is, well, the richness of history. Now, the Mid-Atlantic, the Northeast, they've just got tons of history going all the way back to the American Revolution and even before that. But this part of Pennsylvania is particularly rich. Of course, you've got the Gettysburg Battlefield off to our west. You've got the Philadelphia area nearby, including Valley Forge and all sorts of battles that happened all over these areas. But you may not know, now you do, that Lancaster for 24 hours was actually the nation's capital. As the Continental Congress was fleeing out of downtown Philadelphia, because the British got too close, they moved into Lancaster for 24 hours. They even had a session in the Lancaster City Courthouse before moving on to York and staying there for a couple of months before then returning back to Philadelphia when things settled down just a little bit. And also, interestingly enough, a Lancaster County town almost became the nation's capital permanently. Before Washington, D.C. was even a concept, Congress was voting on where are we going to have the nation's capital at, and they narrowed in on an area just south of Harrisburg on the Susquehanna River, which is now known as Columbia. So it almost became the nation's capital, but as Congress people do, there was disagreement and it didn't work out. But it was the original proposed site of the nation's capital, kind of some cool features thanks to its proximity to the Susquehanna River. And eventually, of course, as we all know, it made its way down to the Potomac, became Washington, D.C., and the rest is, well, as they say, history. So moving on to that number 8 reason why Lancaster is one of the best places in Pennsylvania to live, and that is its dedication to the arts, the theater, and really just cultural things going on in downtown Lancaster and across the county all the time. That dedication manifests itself in festivals, into shows, into concerts, into entertainment, coming to Lancaster and identifying this area as a great place to invest. Now, you can walk down downtown Lancaster streets, you can see a ton of art galleries all the time, but it's really the events that happen as the warmer months happen, spring, summer, and into fall, where you can truly see just how culturally diverse Lancaster is. All right, the 9th factor that makes Lancaster a wonderful place to live, arguably the best, is the outdoor recreation. Lancaster is far enough away from the Philadelphia area and the big cities where you get to feel nature. You can really be one with nature here in the Lancaster area. Yes, you can be in the city, you can also be in the suburbs, and you can go out to the rural areas, but it's really that outdoor recreation that supports a lot of things to do. So whether you're a biker, hiker, fisher, golfer, whatever, it doesn't matter if it's outdoors, there's a good chance that you're going to be able to do it right here in the Lancaster area. For hiking and biking, you can't go wrong along some of these low-grade rail trails that we have. Rail trails is simply exactly what it sounds like. It's an old rail bed. They pulled the rails out. It's nice and relatively flat with some gravel, a little bit of asphalt in some places too. It just makes things for a nice, easy walk or bike, and you can go for miles upon miles. In fact, in Lancaster County, there are hundreds of miles of these rail trail systems that you can access. The longest of which is now the NOLA low-grade trail, which was a 29-mile trail. On the other side of a big river gorge, there was an additional 8-mile trail that was right around the Safe Harbor Dam area. Well, they spent millions of dollars building this beautiful truss pedestrian bridge where now the two trails connect. So now you can have a 36 or 37 mile uninterrupted one trail going through different parts of Lancaster County. That truss bridge is a huge focal point for it because it's right there at the Safe Harbor Dam. Bald eagles are everywhere. It has one of the highest concentrations of bald eagles of anywhere in the country. And on that truss bridge, as you're walking across it, they put some little glass panels there. So if you're queasy, you don't like heights, don't look down the glass panels, but it's a really cool feature to have, and it's drawing a ton of tourists from all over right here to Lancaster County. So all of that to say, going to the 10th point, and that is that there's just a variety of things to do. There's a lot of things to do here in the Lancaster area, recapping everything that we just talked about, but really it just provides enough for really anybody that is looking for anything. If you're looking for more of a city or urban feel, you can find that in downtown Lancaster. Rooftop bars, musicians, concerts and clubs that are happening in downtown, and of course all those art shows, art galleries, things that happen out in the streets all the time. First Friday is a wonderful event to check out. The first Friday of every month, all of those vendors have discounts, shops have discounts, and a lot of them push out into the streets. It's just a wonderful place to check out. But it's also outside of the city. Maybe you're more of a suburb type of person, or maybe you're more a rural type of a person. You can do all of those things in a very short geographic distance. It's not like you need to make a day trip to go do them. You can just drive 20 minutes in one direction. You can be a totally different feel, totally different vibe from a city all the way to the agriculture. And some of my previous videos have talked about that, where you can go from city life to suburban to rural in a very, very short period of time. And it's a wonderful way to check out what Lancaster has to offer. All right, so that is the bulk of it. 10 reasons why Lancaster, Pennsylvania is the best place in Pennsylvania to live. I hope this video was helpful for you. We are making videos all the time on YouTube, and I encourage you to check out our channel. Leave a comment here on this video. Let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to see that. Of course, you can like and subscribe too, and hit that little alarm bell, which will alert you when new videos drop. And I can tell you there will be a lot more videos coming about Lancaster and the surrounding areas to help you learn what this place has to offer. Ultimately, I invite you to come visit here. Check things out for yourself. Figure out if this is a place where you can relocate to and see yourself moving forward. That's the best thing to do. And again, we're helping people all the time who are moving and relocating here. And if that's you, we'd love to help you as well. Here's our contact information. Put that there up on the screen. Call us, text us, email, doesn't matter. You can get a hold of us any of those directions. And also you can follow our social media channels too. More Group Matt is all you have to type in. You'll be able to find us on whatever social platform you prefer. Again, I hope this video was helpful for you, and thanks again for watching.